with you, happy, really happy to be Good morning, everybody. GM, welcome to the NFT Morning. Today is October 8th, 2026. And as you can see, we speak English today at the NFT Morning, and we will have a few episodes like this because it's already autumn, and autumn in Paris means art fairs. And of course, Art Basel will come next week in Paris, but we're pretty excited to have for the third time in a row this digital sector at Paris Photo, and we have the chance today to be with Nina Roers. Hi Nina, how are you?
Hi John, morning. How are you?
I'm super excited. Thank you for being there. I will also introduce our other guests because here we are. We've been chatting together. I think we feel like it's becoming real, even for you. I believe that so for the third time, Paris Photo is hosting a full area curated by you and dedicated to digital art. And as you know, it's important for us. It's a major event. It's part of history, I believe. We are happy to interview as much project, as much exhibitors, as much artists as possible. And this is why we have shared with you a tweet that we will share again in this article with all the programs. So you will have a full series of all the galleries, or most of them, I would say, that will be part of your curation, Nina. Is that right?
Yeah, it's wonderful that you're doing it. I mean, we started last year, and last year most of it happened during the fair, which is already very crowded moment for everybody. And I think this year we're starting like leading up to the fair, which is even better, gives us a bit more time also to enjoy this. And here we are with our first guests. Also.
No, exactly. Now we have time to anticipate. And okay, today is the first episode of the series, so we have also the chance to have a gallery and an artist. So actually, we have the chance to have Anne with us from Office in Part. Hi, Anne. How are you?
Good, very good. Thank you for having us.
Thank you. And so the chance also to have with us Jan Robert Lichter. Hi, how are you?
Good morning. I'm doing fine. Nice to be here.
Thank you for being with us. And we will talk, of course, about the huge piece. It's a kind of a meta piece. I think it's kind of also in your style. It's not only one piece, but it's a journey. That you will exhibit at Paris Photo. So the Wanderer, and we'll talk about it. Just beforehand, I just wanted for everybody who don't know what's going on there, maybe Nina, can you just remind everybody for people who have no idea why Paris Photo is special, basically?
Yeah, sure, gladly. So Paris Photo is the biggest fair in the world, focusing on photography in the artistic context. And all of this, or my journey with them, started 3 years ago when Anna Planas joined as a new art director and asked me if we could find a home for, let's say, the future of photography, also ideas of the digital around photography, which are evolving with fast speed, especially now also with developments around artificial intelligence. And we started 3 years ago in the Grand Palais Éphémère, and the decision right from the beginning was to build a dedicated sector and to bring together different type of exhibitors. So not only typical galleries, but also new platforms that might not have a physical space, but work with interesting digital strategies and have of course, strong curatorial focus on what they're doing. And we started in the first year with 10 exhibitors, and then last year everything moved back to the Grand Palais. And the fair made a bold move and put us on the main floor with the main galleries. So we are fully integrated in the main activities of the fair.
It's crazy. I think, of course, first, for everybody living in Paris, it's a joy to rediscover the Grand Palais, because it was closed for I would say 10 years, but I have no idea. Maybe 6 or 7 years. I don't know. And it's maybe it's I think yeah, it's simply the best place to exhibit art for an art fair in Paris. And yeah, I think having last year having this digital section. I don't know why. Basically, how did you end up to have this so much central area in the fair? And especially with the staircase where you can really like see all the exhibition. From the first floor. It's for me. It was pretty strong symbolically.
That's a good question. I think that also within the fair, the sector is seen a bit like a gate also into or like a door opening into the future, also in which direction the fair might develop partially. So there are many new ideas and tendencies that we also like testing or approaching within the sector in a very dedicated way, that are also opening doors in general for the fair. So that might be one of the reasons why it gets such a public or central positioning. And what we can see since we started the sector, that we are now also in general with the fair, we are not only focusing on photography, we are also focusing more on the idea of the image. So during all these discussions around what photography is today and how it's developing, and yeah, we are now more and more thinking about this idea of the image, where we are kind of also moving away from the traditional reading, let's say, of photography, where you think about somebody holding a camera and really taking an image based on a lens-based device. And yeah, it's broadening the spectrum.
Awesome. And so, okay, I think it's an interesting move. So yeah, because the starting point where I mentioned was photography, neo photography, whatever. Now we can see different kind of project, and even more like on-chain.
Yeah, and
right?
we have a broad. I mean, what I'm trying every year through the exhibitors and the artists they're bringing is to give people a broad overview of what the digital element brings to the arts. And digital arts often a bit misleading in the way that people feel that everything is happening on screens. And in reality, artists are working on a spectrum. So things can start in the computer and they can't end very physical, but can also be the other way around. It can be everything in between. And the digital element also brings us into a situation where we see many artworks, which is very interesting, that bridge genre ideas. So something can look like a painting, but it can originate from photography or images and can be a collage. And that makes the sector very diverse and also rich in ideas that you can find. And
and so and also you have kind of, it's always a kind of the key question, because algorithm have a strong part, of course, of the selection. I would say AI now is is part of many curations, also of many selections. A lot of the works are questioning maybe the role, but what it is to be a human at the digital age, or what does it mean to be a machine living in the human world. I think it's kind of the job of new kind of medium and like a digital art to ask these kind of questions.
Yeah, I mean, we're presenting artists who work with new media about new media, I would say, because I mean, for artists, technological developments offers new way to produce artworks, but also new topics to think about or to circle around in their work. And we're really trying to do both. because I think art has a higher relevance when it's focusing on issues that are relevant for society. And digitalization is one of the big topics for our society and one of the major changes that we are all undergoing also in our daily lives. And especially within the arts, in the digital art, there are many interesting ways to address issues that are also around and to make people aware of issues that we might have. So often we are talking about the networked image in this context, and which also then includes all these algorithmic structures, not only in the way images can be created, but also in the way they are distributed and in the way they are consumed.
Okay. And so, to talk a bit more about this year, what makes this year special, of course, in the selection, you have the chance to have some galleries, who's been there for like 3 years, and we talk about it also with you, Anne. So, you have some loyalty, but you're bringing also new project into the curation. How would you, if you would do a comparison, what could be the differences or maybe the similarities, that you will use, to describe this year curation?
I mean, of course, we are trying to work with the partners we worked with now for several years, like Office Impart. So many of the exhibitors are exhibitors who are exhibiting for the second or third time even. The overall picture is anyway changing through the content that they are bringing to the fairs, to the artists every year, even though we might keep the exhibitors. So it's a bit like a 2-layer curation. It's very different from curating a show. What's new this year, and it's a tendency that already started last year, we are seeing increasingly more artistic positions focusing on artificial intelligence. That's a bit like the topic of our current time. And what's new this year, we also have 2 non-commercial projects. So we will have the city of Düsseldorf, which has a tradition in contemporary photography and is presenting an overview of photography in the digital age based on many players around the city of Düsseldorf. They will involve like institutions and collections. And we also have a project on the balcony. So we're extending the sector within the Grand Palais. So it will not only be the main floor between the stairs, but we will also have the balcony to which the stairs lead up in front of the VIP area. And there, GIGA, which is a sub-foundation of UNICEF, will present a large-scale project by the artist Co Sternberg.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I can't wait to hear them, because actually we have the chance also to have them. But I'm wondering, of course, that's interesting. So it's not galleries only, but you have also like organizations coming with some other purpose, and I believe that are doing maybe one of their first digital art project. I believe. And so working. Okay, that's nice. And so you will take more space. So that's also interesting.
Yeah,
So,
we're also growing a bit like in the direction of the main entrance into the main sector, and we changed the layout. So we are breaking a bit more open to ensure visitor flows that are a bit more natural flow from the front to the back of the Grand Palais. I mean, it's also learnings from previous years. And and I think for the rest, I'm pretty much trying to stick to my curatorial idea that I had right from the beginning, to show a broad overview of genre ideas, to show what photography and the image can be today, to focus also on digitalization as a topic for society, and of course also to build bridges between traditional and emerging positions. So it's not only about today, it's also about the history and of digital art and photography in this context.
okay, yeah. So I have the perspective, of course, and I think it's part of also your DNA, creating dialogues between different worlds, and having this exhibition that is also basically a middle point to create conversations, from the people coming from the digital or NFT, NFT, even, I would say NFT degens like me in a way. And on the other hand, people who are more attached, to photography collection and who have maybe less understanding, about digital art, right?
Yes, exactly. And there are also different ways how, let's say, the works that will be shown can be collected. I mean, some might be sold or certified as NFTs, and that's the way you collect them, and others might be not. There are also many physical works where there's not even a digital component that you will acquire. We have very sculptural installations this year. And I think that's also the interesting thing. If you can bring all of that together in a sector, that really helps people also to get a broader idea about of digital art. And I mean, we're sitting within the main sector, and we are also seeing many of the developments that we are now more specifically focusing on in the digital sector, also everywhere in the fair. So I guess we will also see a lot of artificial intelligence or artists working with artificial intelligence with other exhibitors. And in general, I feel that the photo crowd or the photo collectors are a very good backdrop for discussing this idea of digital art and photography in the digital age, because this crowd is used to this idea that an artist works with a device, that there might be software involved, that there's no original, dealing with editions. So there are many ideas that are around. And then also this question of reality. When we think about the image in photography, we never had this idea that what a full image shows is necessarily, in photography, we always had this idea that what an image shows is it's reality, and in painting, we never had that. So that's also a discussion that now becomes increasingly relevant in the age of artificial intelligence, and also in general with the increasing speed of the circulation of images through social
so
media.
I think, as you mentioned, photography has always been like a technology-based art. So it started, and this is why also it's been challenged, at the beginning as a non-art discipline, because it's easy, you just need to push the button. You had these kind of things like it's easy, you just need to produce anything on your computer. So, and it's happened several times, because apparition of photography was one, but then digital photography was another one, and then evolution of technology always it's challenging. The same, coming back with the same questions about is it art or it's not art, to use this. And so I think at the end of the day, when you explain it this way, Nina, we see also that it's kind of a natural affiliation, a natural continuation of digital art, basically.
Yeah, and images are much more at the core of how we live through our digital life, our daily digital life, especially now with social media and in an attention economy, than, for example, painting. So I think we are right in the hot spot where we are now with this.
Perfect. No, so actually, I have a lot of questions, but we will have the chance to have a dedicated episode with you, Nina, also to dig a bit more and to talk about all of this. But so just to remind people, I think just to come back on the key information. Paris Photo is coming back to Paris, November 16 to November 13, if I'm not wrong.
12 to 16.
12 to 16, exactly. So I'm including, because you always have the VIP the first day, if I'm not wrong. Maybe tell me if I'm wrong, Nina.
The Wednesday is a VIP day, and then on the 13th, on the Thursday, it's the first public day, and then it runs until Sunday.
Perfect.
We will also have a rich program taking place during the fair. So.
Okay, and so so you have a program also. So you will have also like round tables or talks on stage.
I think we will have activations of artworks, for example, with Jan Robert, and we will have a talk as part of the Conversations program. We will have book readings, a couple of things happening also during the fair. Many of the artists will be present, so it's definitely worth coming more than once.
Okay, so yeah, that's interesting to come several days. So maybe Nina, you can introduce us also Office Impart, explaining the relation you have, and maybe tell us a bit more about what they are doing.
Yeah, we have Anne Schwanz with us from Office Impart, and Office Impart is headed by a duo, so by Anne and Johanna Neuschäfer. And this year they're presenting Jan Robert Lechte. They've been with the digital sector right from the beginning. And Anne and Johanna, we've known each other for many years because the digital art world is not that big. And we were all in there, let's say, I would say early on. And yeah, Anne and Johanna in Berlin and me in Zurich. And so that's a bit like our history. And we also worked with many artists. I worked with many artists in my gallery times that they are still working with. And Office Impart is a very interesting gallery or exhibitor for us in the ways that they have a physical space in Berlin. In many ways, they act like a traditional gallery. They work with a certain set of artists who they represent, who they exhibit within their gallery, and also, of course, at fairs. Now, as we will see at Paris Photo, they are establishing connections for them with collections, with institutions. So let's say typical gallery work, but then at the same time, and they are one of the fewer galleries. They also focusing or open for Web3 and with that also digital and online representation. And the overall focus of the gallery, even though I would describe it as a contemporary art gallery, I would see in new media and also, let's say, art in a context at least of the digitalization and the digital age. I hope, Anne, that I'm doing you justice.
No, it's perfect. It's always nice to hear from somebody else describing what we are doing, because sometimes you are so in the focus or in your own box and not really think about it. But yeah, like I think how we like to describe ourselves, that we have a focus on artists who work with the material of our time. And we like this because it's not just digital. It could be also like if a sculpture work with things that we think, as you said before, is really has something to do with our today and has put up the topics of today. That's for us interesting. But of course, digitalization technology is really something what we are really interested in personally. And so it's also mirrored in the artist choice, I would say.
Okay, amazing. And so just, wanted to know about your experience. I remember last year we had the chance to have you. I think you've been exhibiting, I think it was Ana Maria Caballero for this Borges pictures, that was kind of generated images based on the Borges, based on Borges text, and then and then you have a poetry again, that was like generated on top of it, if I'm not wrong.
And we had last year we brought a duo presentation, so with Ana Maria and Caballero and Jonas Lund. And this year it was nice and it worked. But it's sometimes we really like to focus on one artist in these kind of fair situations, because you can really go deeper when the people are coming, and especially when you want to talk about the works, then everybody is more focused. Like if you have, I don't know, also it's nice to have a curated whatever presentation, but for us, I don't know, in the last years, what we found out, it's more on us.
Okay, so you're moving from a duo show to a solo exhibition this time. And so you decided to collab with Jan. Maybe you can tell us a bit more, about Jan, for people who don't know his work.
Yeah, we I don't know actually, Jan, where we met first time. I think it's some years ago already, but we had last year the first solo show with him here in Berlin, and we really like how Jan works in the last years, really since the late 90s, with the digital culture, I would say, and on really different levels, and how he have a deep dive in all these kind of aesthetics and ways of seeing our reality through the digital technologies. And that's why we think it's a good next step to have something, a new piece, combining with a series what he's working on for the last years already. And so we have the Wanderer, which is a new net art piece what we will show, and then we will have the Ornament series, which is this time not digital, but this comes out as a physical, how to say, wall pieces. And it's all in the making, and we are really curious to see. And maybe Jan, you can tell us a little bit more then about the details and how everything works.
I can maybe say one word about Jan. I think Jan is really like very unique in the way that we don't have that many artists who started very early into the digital age and are still around, and also manage this bridge between, let's say, the early days of net art and new media art, and are now also very successful in this field of blockchain and NFTs. And not only in ways of distributing the work, but also in the way they are focusing, or like they are talking about the essence of the medium they are working with.
Like I think Jan really started with Web 1, right? How to say, like when you thinking about in these columns, Web 1, Web 2, Web 3, and starting with Web 1 and Web 2, maybe it was not so much his style with all the social media developments, but then Web 3 again with blockchain was really another topic he's really influenced by.
That's interesting. Yeah, Jan, please.
No, thanks for the lovely introduction.
That's really nice. Yeah, and I think that's interesting. What Nina is saying. I think because for people who don't follow closely, it's true that you have two separated world in a way. You have the digital art OGs on one hand, and so as you mentioned, most of them did not fall or are not interested or did not see this new wave that happened. So I would say from in the last 7 years, like 5, 6, 7 years, that came also with NFTs. And so on one, you have really a big shift between gallery video artists and more I would say NFT natives artists. And so it's not so easy to make the bridge, because when you have it means that you need to be very curious all along your journey to challenge everything and start from almost with a new paper every time. How did you see actually, Jan, this NFT wave, this NFT phenomena? How did you see it? How did you understand it?
Yeah, it's massive. I think it's in my heart, I'm an internet artist. So I started in the 90s discovering the internet as a medium, the web more specific, but sometimes brighter. And I never really looked back on that. So I think my muse is sort of the network computer. And then we had the Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 transitions. And related to that, we had net.art and post-internet and blockchain art. And I was always walking around in that circle. So whatever wave came with new artists, I would always hook up and be part of that movement. So I think social media wasn't my thing, but post-internet art very much sort of transitioned into sort of physical space, which is very core to my work as well. And the old net art feel is still in my works. But when blockchain came, it was absolutely, I was a bit late to the party. I'm not 21. I wasn't like a pioneer before that, but when I discovered that it was a real homecoming, a real digital native art form, it was like, okay, this is net art all over. But now with an audience, and you could realize, like a project like Web, which I did 2 years ago, I think, which generates an audience of hundreds or maybe nearly 1,000 people who commit to a work for weeks and engage with it fully and are participating in the work. I could never do that in the 90s. It would be like dead silent. People, you just have a little ticker on the back end and you, okay, 50 people saw the piece. This engagement is amazing. So that means you can revisit this web-based art, but then full on, and the whole Discord and community about it is just next level. So I'm very, very happy with this
That's
development.
very interesting, because you started as internet artist, and finally blockchain is bringing this internet components directly inside of the piece. So we're talking about network art in a way. So the network dimension is integrated, and as you mentioned, you can see, of course, thanks to the blockchain, who are the other collectors, the provenance, from where it comes, who are the other collectors, and you have also the other layers that is kind of related, that it is the community, and so the direct relation, and with all these good point and this bad point, I believe, for artists. So no, that's super exciting, and I think your journey is really interesting. Just to go quickly about history. I showed quickly on the images a pretty work you've been doing like more than 20 years ago. This scroll bar that is a physical light bar, basically, or metal bar, I would say, or wood. Is it? No, I think it's wood. Maybe
it's wood. Yeah, it's very simple. It's just it's very theatrical. It's just wood with a white painted side and the projection on it. So it's very basic, but it brings the magic to the space. It's in its simple. It's like a prop in a play, but as soon as the lights go on, it's like what, the magic starts.
That's super nice.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's exhibited. And the picture I'm showing, we'll show that on the floor also, make the effect pretty like, asking a lot of questions, of course, about bringing internet to reality, and the fact, you want to scroll it, it's kind of the reflex, you see a button, you want to push it. And so, so that's, it's really like representing internet in this area. But then, maybe like, you have like other pieces, like major pieces. Maybe, I don't know if you want to talk about, ornaments, for example. That was also a huge piece, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It's all intertwined, but it's, of course, these seeds started in the 90s, as you can sort of feel. A lot of my collectors are very, a lot of them have that age as well, so they have the sort of nostalgia for that time. But it's the 90s were like, they often describe as the golden age of UI interface design. So it's like there's so many basics were invented then, and it was this incredible time of innovation with personal computing and the internet. And for me, it became, because it was this extruded fake faux 3D interactive layer, which was the interface. It so much resonated with me, with being sculptural and architectural, and it linked me back to the whole tradition of suggesting the, like what is it, trombleur, sort of suggesting materiality, also in architectures, like sort of fake panels and everything like that. So it goes way back, where I saw like the interface as a continuation of art history and architecture history, etc. But with a brand new twist. Suddenly it's electrons, it's networked, it's interactive, it's social, it has all these new aspects. So that for me was the magic behind working with the network computer. And I just like trying to understand this new medium by threading it back to old traditions and disciplines, and getting a grip of what is this new stuff we're working with, because it is pretty magical. I must to this day still admit the network computer is something else. I would say it's a, we shouldn't go get too philosophical so early in the morning, but it's a, I don't know, in a continuation of media, which is relevant because Paris Photo is, of course, about a certain medium, celebrating photography. I always find it's like this is such a radical break with that continuation of media, and suddenly this magical simulation box came, which does everything and more. So yeah, trying to discover what it is. And,
no, that's very interesting. And I think, what I like, and we talk about the renderer, because I think it's, know that when you fall also into the NFT world, you really wanted to take the dimension of playing with the network, playing with internet, playing with the community. I was, to be honest, I discovered your work. It was on Verse with the this garden, different what it
the walled
garden,
garden.
yeah, what it garden. That was like, you can basically, you created a full 3D garden, and anyone can see one camera angle of this garden. So it's like the same piece, but it's all different, but in the same way. They are all, you need all of them to see also the full perspective of the garden. And that's for me, I really like. I think for me it was really interesting. But no, when I've been reading the concept of the wanderer, for me it's totally new. Also, to be honest, maybe you can tell us a bit more. This concept of the wanderer, the flaneur,
Yes.
people who are in France.
Happy to do so. No, I really enjoy sort of pushing the medium, and sort of really trying to make work which reflects the medium. So as you said, walled garden really sort of brought in the public ownership of a work, and make the collector participatory in the work, in the installation as it be, which is what happens. So it's just sort of like showing it back to the people. And this is really focusing on, I think it's a very core principle of digital art, which is the performative nature of it. And the blockchain is like ticking, is like a clock, and it's recalculating stuff and filling ledgers and processing transfers, and your CPU of the computer is another clock. And this is this procedural nature of a computer. And instead of sort of making works which are generative and just generate static outputs, I wanted to make a piece which was live and performative. And so the Wanderer is it's a blockchain server based entity which is wandering over a map service. Could be Google Maps, but in this case it's OpenStreetMaps. So you see a map, and you will see a line wandering, and the blockchain is making the choices. So at each junction it'll say, can I go left, right, straight, back, and it'll start just being a flaneur on the map. And it's a very simple concept. I also, technologically, it's not groundbreaking because it's like throwing dice. So it's just simple random functions. It's just a line walking on a map. But I love the idea that it really is eternal. I mean, as long as the blockchain will run, the line will wander. It will wander into the world, and it reflects on two things. I think it somehow is also, there's aspects. One side is that it's very a far cry from photography, but in a way it makes sense, because the work is sort of celebrating just wandering outside and observing. There will be poetic reflections of every junction. So they are like observations in the world, which is sort of the classic idea of taking a camera and walking outside.
The concept, I don't know if I am allowed also to show the small draw that of the future birds that you will do. It's showing the way you want to display it, but basically on this doodle, I can see the way you want to do it. You have basically two screens, if I'm not wrong. One on the top that is showing some poetry, and one on the bottom, that is basically, it's kind of a Google
A
Map
map with a,
itinerary.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So and so it's explaining the journey of this art piece, of this algorithm that is the wanderer, basically. So of course, and the concept, just yeah, if I got it, and tell me if I'm wrong, the idea is, you've been programming this algorithm, to just virtually walk through the streets.
Yes.
So it's walking in the city, and so it's in the same time drawing, his journey on the map. And of course, like everybody is crossing over intersections. And at the moment he's crossing intersections, there is a random choice, I would say, maybe, that is done. And so I will make it simple, left or right, but it could be, of course, much more possibilities, at a roundabout or whatever. And at the moment, the wanderer decides to go left, so he continues his journey and is reporting. So there is an inscription that is done on chain, that is writing down the itinerary. So at the end of the day, you have a big database of choices, like mentioning that decided to go left on this street or right on this way, and so you can see a full itinerary, right?
Yes.
And so, am I right?
Absolutely. And I wanted, for the poetic elegance, and also I also because there's a server dealing with the map, of course, talking with the blockchain and storing all the choices. But not only that, I wanted the contract to also make the choice. So the server, the map server, is offering the junction choices to the contract, and the contract will say, we go this way. So the contract is
The
it will be
contract is a decision maker.
yeah, exactly. Which is
Oh,
subtle difference. Nobody will see it, but I really find that important and quite beautiful. And then it's sort of the map is the mind, and the server is like, of the blockchain, is the memory and the choice.
so the brain. And on top of it, and can you explain? So basically, okay, of course, during the exhibition, it will be like a few days of this live perpetual machine working, but at the end of the day, it will continue forever because it's a non-chain
Yeah.
algorithm. So whatever happened, it will continue and do his job. On the second screen that is on top of it, what is this? What are these poesy, that we can see?
The text. Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to so on one side you see the wandering, then so what happens at the junction, of course, it makes the choice, but I also, there will be two facets. So you have like the wanderer, which has its own contract, which is doing the walk, and there'll be a separate contract in which people can collect a junction point. So they can collect them as NFTs on top of the. So there's two contracts in this work, and when one, for instance, if the wanderer will pass by some beautiful landmark you really admire, or you just like the, God knows, the Notre Dame, and you love that point, or some area, little park you've been, or you live, your house, it might cross your house, it might even come to Amsterdam, who knows. And you,
where is the wanderer start? Where will the wanderer start his
start in the Grand Palais. So it's starting,
amazing.
where it should start, and it will start. We will have a celebratory opening.
Right. That's what I just wanted to say. So we have one of this activation point, what Nina mentioned before. So
Exactly,
we will have this
moment when we say walk,
when the wanderer
will walk out the building, and it'll go left or right.
Sorry, I want to know. You already have the moment when you will.
Yeah, I think so. I think I don't know if it's 100% confirmed, but we are planning now with Tuesday at 5, Nina, right? 5-ish. I think that's what we agreed last.
Okay, will be confirmed, of course, but so far it will be
confirmed, and of course we will make an announcement. But this is what how we sorted it, because we want to bring the wanderer.
Yeah, I had this question. I was wondering, is it already running from where it's starting? So yeah, it's making very symbolic. So it's starting at the Grand Palais. photo.
And it'll be quite special because it's programmed. The line will walk at 5 kilometers an hour, which is normal walking speed, in an animated fashion. So at 5 o'clock, it will walk out to the front door, and you can follow it. You can just walk along with it with your iPhone. You can follow it for the rest of your life if you want. But it will very a strong entity. You can really see it walk out. So I'm super curious.
Except that the wanderer never sleep, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, but wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And for the fair, it's really fantastic. This with Jan Robert, we're bringing one element into the fair that's also big topic in exhibiting digital. It's like always this negotiation between the physical and the digital space, and also this question: how do we bring the work of artists who work with digital means and to work in digital realities? How do you bring that into our physical reality and not only screen based? And with Jan Robert's work, we're seeing this now with the ornaments, like more like an architectural translation from the digital space, which is also three-dimensional in many ways,
Yes.
into the physical space. And at the same time, we are now kind of overlaying a networked infrastructure over the Grand Palais, the physical Grand Palais, and like putting it out in the world. So it's very interesting. It's bringing many layers to this idea of space as an exhibition space, but space also as a concept for artists. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to see also the journey, of course, of this work, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Like start from the Grand Palais, from the digital sector, from the booth, go out of the main entrance of the Grand Palais, and then up
Into the
somewhere
world.
in the streets of the city of Paris, and maybe we see it back one moment during the fair, close to the fair, or one of our
circling back.
events.
Yeah, it's all
And
possible.
then yeah, maybe somewhere else in the future. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic.
And then also to collect parts of it and to become part of this history.
Yeah.
I think I will definitely try to get the part where it starts from the booth.
Yeah. To get the first junction. Boom.
The first junction within the first alleys of the layout of the booth, I guess, which is not mapped on your map, but
Yeah.
maybe
That's
we can ask Google to put our internal streets on their map.
Yeah. Just some technical information. The work will be produced on Forma, on the art chain Forma, and will be it'll be visible in the marketplace for Modularium. It is an EVM project, so if Forma fails, we can always move it to Base or some other EVM chain. So it is secured for the future. Yeah, NFTs will be bought then on Modularium or Forma. It'll be on the website itself, so that you'll be able to buy. You'll watch the one and say, "I want this junction."
okay. Yeah, because we haven't mentioned that clearly. Just so the contract is, so you started to mention the second contract, that is dedicated to create the collectible pieces of the junctions, basically. So
Yeah.
so automatically, so it's like it's basically the Wanderer is an autonomous artist, also in the way is minting at every junction a new piece, so forever.
Yeah, it's an open edition.
It's a forever open edition.
Yes,
but it's also not exactly. Tell me if I'm wrong, but each piece is different also.
Absolutely. So one NFT per junction, and the NFT will consist of a little poem generated from the 3 junctions to the junctions, using the directions and objects in the neighborhood. So it could be like left at the church, then onto this road, and then you go past the school, and then you cross the sand road, and so it's a little descriptive poem, sort of concrete poetry, and it will have a typographical ornament, which is generated generative typographic ornament, which is sort of as a little addition to create this little tableau of poetry and ornament.
Okay, so basically you have this poetry 3K based on the data you mentioned, plus I believe the map,
Yeah.
the snapshot of the map of something like this, right?
No, it will be this little poem which is
Okay.
specific to that junction. Yeah.
Specific of the junction, and
Yeah.
maybe I don't know if you already have some, of course, just some tests, but maybe if you have something, would it be possible for you just to read one of your test poems, for example?
Oh, that's a very good question. Didn't prepare that one.
I like, the show. I always have a small trick in the end to trap you. No, but if you don't, it's not a problem, and people will discover it. Just to it was just a random question like this. But if you have some, you can feel free to come with this later. So basically, you have open editions that are minted. You mentioned actually, I think this blockchain, so that maybe not everybody knows. Can you repeat the name of the blockchain? Sorry.
Yeah. It's called Forma, 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 and it's a chain on the Celestia blockchain environment. Forma.
And people can buy the piece. So what is it, like a predefined price or something like this?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure, but it'll be very low price because it's an open edition. We want people to participate, so it'll be very, very affordable. Not
Okay.
my Ethereum prices, but
and so I believe on the website you will be able to see all the junctions and
we'll be integrating them into the map. So the map, the Wanderer map, there will be little markers added to junctions which have been acquired, and you can tap on them and you can see the little poem. You can see the NFT. You could go to OpenSea or not OpenSea, Modularium, and then trade it. Yeah.
Jan Robert, will you also show which wallet collected which junction on the map or somewhere that you can see who kind of did the pass with you?
Yeah, at the very least, you'll be pointed to the marketplace, so you can instantly communicate with the owner. Yeah.
It could also be nice to see kind of who's walking or who did this walk with you in a
yeah, absolutely. No, but it'll be a nice documentation of people participating on junction.
That's really nice. And just to let you know, everybody, again, as we really anticipated this time with Nina, all these episodes, we are like more than 1 month to the event. So I'm pretty sure, everything is still in, I see that I'm starting to had some pressure on Jan shoulders now because I say, wow.
Well, I think the gallerist and me, we are very happy with that, to make that you are making sure that everything happens in time.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's still a month, so we really trust the artist.
You still have time.
Production. We're moving fast.
You still have time. So this is why, of course, I believe, of course, it's still in development, and you're still doing back and forth and testing and improving some stuff.
Yeah, and we need to keep some secrets also, huh? I mean, otherwise you don't need to come to the fair anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's really exciting. I can't wait to see it. It's really the kind of work that I think we love. And also the perpetual. I'm a big fan of perpetual works. I think it's something that is will come more and more. I think, of course, we have all these AI machines now that are a big part of it, and we will have some of them also part of the show. But I really like the idea of whatever happened, it will continue. It's asking questions a lot. Like you asking questions about the time, about the space, about a lot of topics. So yeah, I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, I think it's also, apart from it being a celebration of technology and mirroring the specificity of it has a actual ring to it, in my feeling, because where also the internet is like become more and more about sort of free speech, absolutism, and sort of the space to wander in ideas has become bigger and bigger, but the geopolitical space becomes smaller and smaller, and this line will just wander, maybe God knows, eastward, crossing boundaries which nobody can cross anymore. And so it's like there's a dual thing happening. So I'm super curious what will happen.
I'm super curious also. And actually, I have much more questions, but I really invite you to come to the fair to ask them, because it's opening a lot of things. Just, Anne, I wanted also you talk a bit more about the exhibition itself, because we mentioned the central piece that will be basically the map and the poetry. How do you see the office import area booth during the show?
Actually, I think we will have a very clear and very conceptual booth this year, because we will have in the middle, we have these two screens with the Wanderer, and then around we will place the ornament plates, but everything will be, I think, very conceptual and typical Jan Robert Lechte installation. So, and I'm really happy that we have also the same spot like last year. I don't know, for people who went there last year. So we are, when you come from the right side to the whole
it's the first one.
You have this overview, or like you have this, how to say in German, it's Fernview, like, so you really see us from afar. And I think it could be really nice to have this very very concentrated, very silent, not silent, but very concentrated and clear pieces of the ornaments, and then you have the little Wanderer. So I really imagine it as very fascinating and very.
On this note, I have to say goodbye, because I have a layout-related discussion with the fair now.
Yeah, it's been longer than expected.
So thank you so much, John, and we've seen each other a couple of times. And thank you, Anne, Jan Robert. I mean, I let you continue, and talk to you soon. Huh?
Thank you very much, Nina. Thank you very much, and we'll see you very soon. And in the same time, I think the way, actually, your booth, I remember your booth because it's the first one I saw, when I arrived last year.
Exactly.
Because as you mentioned, you have a how you say, a kind of setback. Setback from. It's not like inside where you have a lot of the booths facing each other, but really like a more perspective. And so I think you will play with that, and also you have the experience.
Yes.
You have this experience on it, so I think it's really interesting. And okay, maybe you don't need to tell much more about what you will do, and you will.
I think most of the things also will like when you're doing this kind of booth, of course you plan everything on scratch and you think about how to place everything, and but then the most of the things happen exactly when you're at the fair and start to set up, because some things you can't plan, and some things you really have to see in real when everything's ready, and then how it comes together. So it's always, in a way, also the best days for, like, maybe not the best, but we really like to the setup days, I have to say, because everything is evolving, and then sometimes also you really understand the pieces only in the moment when you really see them, also how it comes together, and what kind of stories they tell each other. So, and I think this is something what you can just see when you are in front of them. So I think this is really looking forward to the setup.
And so, actually it was supposed to be shorter. I'm sorry, but I have so many questions. I just wanted to understand, because I think it's important, because it's the third time you're going to Paris Photo. Actually, we can say that you are used to do some, it's part of your job to go to art fair. I think this month you have Köln, if I'm not wrong. And so most of the time you're going to traditional, I would say, fair. How Paris Photo is different for you?
Actually, we like really the focus of this digital topic, and this is actually, in our experience, the only sector on art fairs where it's so dedicated to digital art, and then that it works, that people are not afraid, and the people are really curious to learn and to see, and it's one of the only places where, as you said in the beginning, the worlds really meet, and it's not just about the Web3 people and all the traditional. So so build, like for us as a gallery, it's really important to build these bridges, because we really see that both worlds can really gain a lot from each other. And this is in our experience the last 2 years, it's really a place where it works, and it's so nice to meet all the people. A lot of people are coming, even if they're not exhibiting, or even if they are not have a piece in the show. But you meet everybody, and you can connect, and you can network, and the people have the understanding for what's happening. And as I think Nina who said, it's a kind of a hotspot, and we feel this in Paris.
Yeah, so okay, and so I believe also you take maybe more, tell me if I'm wrong, but maybe also more risk when you go to Paris Photo, to let people discover some different things.
I think it's always a kind of a risk when you just show one artist at an art fair, but especially if it's just this digital. But we have really, as I said in the beginning, we have really good experience, because then the people take you the time really to listen when you just talk about a strong concept. And if you have the chance to dive deeper, because it's especially with this new kind of, this digital art always needs more explanation for people who are not so into it, and that's why it makes sense to have one position.
I see. And I would want you to understand also maybe the business side, I would say, because if you come 3 times in a row, does it mean that it's profitable for you?
Yes, it was. The first time was okayish. It was nice, but it was more or less we covered the cost. Last year was really good with Jonas and Anna Maria, and so we hope for this year. And it's, of course, it's the times are not easy, and art fairs in itself, maybe it's not the model of the future. On the one hand, we have to see artworks really working, because you meet the people, everybody is there, you can show, and you have this kind of that people really like to see it, and you have this kind of event. But on the other hand, from the market, we will see. You never know. It's
you
always
never know, of course. But so this year, because you're coming with one artist, of course, the concept that Jan explained is great, because it's an open edition. I believe it's not the one where you will make money. Are you selling other pieces?
Like the whole piece will be one, as far as we agreed now, it will be one, like the whole.
Okay, you will have one big one that it will be maybe okay.
The NFTs, as Jan described, and of course the ornaments that are single pieces, and we will have a selection of, I don't know. That depends on how the booth should look like in the end.
Okay. So of course, so we haven't mentioned, but of course, so you have also pieces that will potentially,
and
hopefully,
what is at the fair is sellable, and let's see.
Of course. No, but that's very interesting. No, because it's also the big question. The big question for people who are interested by digital art, is to see, if we have chances to see more and more gallery taking this opportunity to go into physical event, and to, of course, it needs to be profitable in a way, if you want this to grow and to have more people.
Sometimes it's like, also an art fair is really sometimes the beginning of something, because you're showing it, and sometimes it's not the time that everything happened in this. I think years before, the people you went to an art fair, you have the chance to see the pieces there, and then it was really more about this physical communication. And then nowadays, it's really more, you can see the work wherever, especially if it's digital, you can see it, every day, whenever, from wherever you want, and it's not always this kind of, you have to buy it now. And I think so that's why sometimes the art fairs are really also starting points for conversations. And you bring the piece the artworks in the world, and then you take it from there. And it's of course, you need this kind of starting points, and this kind of events that people really love to see how everything is evolving, and also that the artists, how the artists develop their works. And I think it's looking forward to it. I think Paris is always a great opportunity to show new things.
No, I'm super excited about it. And I believe you are busy also, because I mentioned you have another art fair before.
Maybe one point also for Paris, which we realized in the last year. It's really a place where curators are going. Paris Photo for all the curators who working for institutions with a focus on photography, but also, like as we said, all these developments and new medias. For them, it's really a fixed date in the calendar that they're going and meeting and at Paris Photo. So actually, really, the last year we really had more curators in our book, more curators contacts than collectors, but it's so because they're also really curious to understand and to
so it has an impact.
So for this, it's really important also to be
it's important. So you're mentioning, so yeah, you have of course some direct impact that I mentioned as sales, but on top of it, of course, second point is the community and the experimentation and the contact, and on top of it, it's a seed that is creating much more things, could lead to a new curation for the artist in the future, or could lead to something indirect, but creating indirect opportunities, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, cool, amazing. It's been much more longer than I was expecting, but it's really interesting, and even we only mentioned I would say half of the booth.
It's hard to be the first, because it's like it's not ready, but I think it's fine.
No, but you have the renderer and the ornaments pieces that will be exhibited. Maybe we'll actually everything will be online and people can see the pieces also. So
I think
more chances.
Informational post all around the fair.
Exactly. So we'll have everything. I just wanted really to thank you, Anne, for coming back actually to the NFT Morning, and it's a big pleasure to have you. Thank you very much, Anne, and congratulations. Can't wait to see the pieces in real. And so for everybody who's following us, it's the first one, but we will start actually to have every next week we have another show that will happen. Actually, it's like Wednesday next week, and we'll have the chance to have TAX, so the gallery TAX, and the artist Kevin Abosch. Actually, we'll see. I have mentioned, but there are a lot of solo exhibitions during this year in Paris Photo. For me, it's much more interesting. So because of course, you are in immersion into a universe. So really wanted to thank both of you, to say à bientôt. See you in Paris. Have a great day. And good morning.
Happy. Good morning. Really happy.